everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully I earn your sub. I'm only a few dozen subs away from 1,000. I believe I was at 930 of filming this, but either way, tinyBuild. tinyBuild is a pretty decently known indie publishing firm. Now they've done some really good games like Despot Game, Hello Neighbor. Yeah, the game was disappointing, but over time people start to come along and say that the game is decent enough. I think it's overhyped, but a lot of people have fun with it. So they do have a decent catalog of games. But when I read this, tinyBuild is using AI tools to monitor staff and identify problematic workers. Oh my god, this just sounds like a Black Mirror-esque show just coming into fruition. Like, seriously, like, no way you spin this, even the most positive way possible, which I don't even know how. We're going to read the article together. Does this come off as in any way a good thing for workers? Because if I was someone looking for employment and I saw this as tinyBuild, pretty sure I would scrub my resume from their like recruitment firm whatsoever, because it just does not look good. I mean, what the employee would want to work for a company that literally is doing this? But let's see, maybe by some nose hair that it's positive. Let's keep an open mind here. During a recent talk, CEO Alex Niboski, I really hope I'm pronouncing his name correct. If not, I'm just going to refer to him as Alex. Hopefully that's okay. Said the publisher has been feeding internal comms into ChatGPT to assess and even predict worker behavior. Dude, that just sounds even worse. Anytime I think about ChatGPT, I think about the lawyer who tried to use ChatGPT in order to try and file a case. Legal Eagle actually did a video on it, and it was just as stupid as you might think. The guy didn't double or triple check his work and then started to assign that everything he wrote in that case file was legitimate. And yeah, it was just like grounds for being disbarred. I like, dear God. tinyBuild Alex says the company is using AI to identify toxic workers, which according to the CEO also includes those suffering from burnout. Dude, come on. Outline how the company utilizes AI in the workplace during a Develop Brighton talk called AI in Game Develops Is My Job Safe? Dude, this just sounds even worse. Alex introduced a section called AI for HR. Oh my god, it gets even worse. HR isn't there to protect the employees, it's there to protect the company. Oh my god. And discuss how the tech can be used to comb through employees' communications and identify problematic workers. Okay, first off, if an employee knows they're being monitored 24/7, they're not going to work harder. They're going to be more stressed because they're going to assume anything they do is grounds for termination. Like anything. Like if they get up to go use the bathroom or stretch, or, you know, they're probably like, oh my god, I need a second to just like not do something or not look at the screen, and they just, you know, we've all had periods like that where we're on the clock and we just need like a few minutes or like even 10 minutes to just like decompress, go make coffee, or just like sit back. Like, I doubt even the CEO works constantly throughout their time schedule, because none of us do. None of us do. Let's be serious. Whether it's retail, whether it's being a software engineer, I'm sure all of us have been like, okay, I need 5 minutes just to be away from a screen or away from whatever I'm doing. We're humans. And eventually Flippy's going to take over everything, or versions of Flippy. In excerpts from a talk published by Why Now Gaming, Alex explained how the Hello Neighbor publisher feeds text from Slack messages, automatically transcriptions from Google Meet and Zoom. Oh my god, this just keeps getting worse. And task managers used by the company into ChatGPT to conduct IME analysis that allows tinyBuild to gauge the probability of a person going to be a burnout. Yeah, going to be a burnout as in, hey, we're going to put you on, I don't know, they're going to probably invent some sort of way of saying, okay, we think you're going to be burned out, so we're going to put you on leave with pay and then find a fresh employee to take over your position. That's what it sounds like, in my opinion, because again, HR isn't there to protect you, it's there to protect the company. Like, this just screams like, do not work here. Why would you ever publish this as a good thing? This is horrible. Like, yeah, hey, do you want to work for tinyBuild? Sure. Oh yeah, by the way, everything you say, whether it's in Zoom, Google Meet, Slack, anything you do, it will be monitored. And if we think you're burning out, we're going to put you on leave. What? Yeah, and you have to be okay with this. So you're gonna monitor me every time I'm at work? Yeah, everything you do. And oh yeah, I mean, this is just a stepping stone. Like, imagine, like, there was a company that was going to have like a bracelet or something on their employees so they can basically monitor when they use the bathroom. Like, I forgot what that was, but it's just getting even more scary. As, like, what employee would be okay to work here? It just sounds like a nightmare. Alex said the technique, which he claims has been invented to a bizarre Black Mirror. You're comparing it to Black Mirror. Black Mirror. Out of everything you can possibly think, Black Mirror. The literal show that's entire concept is surrounding how technology has warped society in the most negative way possible. From machines in the shape of dogs that kill people on sight to creating sentient AI that they completely destroy mentally and turn them into slaves. That show. Like, I didn't like the latest season, but dear freaking Christ, that's the last thing you ever want to be compared to. And involves using ChatGPT to monitor the number of times workers have said I or me in meetings and other correspondence. Dude, just stop. Like, if I was anyone in this company if I was the personal assistant to this guy, if he has one, or anyone at this company, marketing, social media, whatever, I would say. I was going on a bit of a rant, so let's just continue with the article. Why? Because he claims that there's a direct correlation between how many times someone uses these words compared to the amount of words they use overall and the likelihood of them experiencing burnout at some point in the future. Look, let's play benefit of the doubt that he actually believes that this type of technology can be used in order to ensure that an employee doesn't get burned out. Because when you get burned out, it can be very serious. I've been in that situation where I looked at a screen, even looked at a video game, and I felt just nauseous and I wanted to just throw up. Burnout is real. So, benefit of the doubt that it is there for burnout. However, the negative consequences of this far outweigh the positives, because any employee looking at this will not take that for face value. They're going to think about all the negative things that are going to happen, because again, if you get hired at a company and you get a contract and everything, you depend on that job for everything, especially if you move out to a certain area for that company. You're going to be like, okay, I get an apartment, I get it furnished, I get all this stuff, and then suddenly, like, you're being monitored, and suddenly something happens. They say, oh, you did this while we were monitoring you, and now you're terminated. What do you do then? Like, again, like, as an employee, you're going to start thinking about all this stuff. So why would you ever take that risk to work for a company that is doing all this? Like, look at it from the employee standpoint. They're going to be like, as the CEO, your job is a little more secure than someone who just joined as a newly started QA worker. They're going to be constantly on edge that they're going to try and keep their job by any means. So the stress is just going to affect productivity as well. Toxicity and burnout. tinyBuild boss claims they're the same thing. Notably, Alex suggests that the AI tool can be used to identify problematic players on the team and compare them with the A players by searching for those who talk too much in meetings or who type too much. Dude, what the fuck are you saying? I'm sorry, but what are you saying? Problematic employees. So if an employee just talks too much or types too much, suddenly they're toxic? That doesn't correspond. Maybe one person is more social than the other. One person has more input. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, could it mean that someone's more toxic? But yeah, but you're grasping at straws here. He calls these employees time vampires. Well, oh wow, wow. Because they're people who his view essentially waste time and notes. Once the person is no longer with the company or with the team, the meeting takes 20 minutes and we get 5 times more done. Dude, they're people. Dude, again, this is going to feed into everyone. They're going to be like, they're going to be so scared to provide any form of feedback because of this. Like, they're going to be like, am I wasting time? Am I a time vampire? Dude, you're just going to make people more afraid for their jobs and their employment. They're not going to be it's like they're just not going to talk up about something that's wrong in the company or something they feel like the project is not moving forward in the best possible way. You're creating a sphere of fear where people are just going to be like, okay, yes, yes, Alex, you're right, absolutely, we're not going to say anything. Like, where are you to judge these people who are there to do their jobs? And at this point, they're just going to be like, this is too stressful, because the other direction this can take is people just quit, because if they feel like their job is so stressful to the point that it's causing like panic attacks, or they're vomiting or having stress headaches, they're going to be like, this is not worth it. I'm going to go somewhere else that offers me better opportunity, because guess what? There are other employers who are going to be like, hey, you work for tinyBuild? Well, what's it like over there? And then they start talking about this stuff. They can be, oh, well, we don't have that here. On top of it, we'll pay you more. Like, you're just giving it more opportunity for your competitors to poach your employees by offering them more freedom. Like, especially the fact that you're conveying this publicly. At one point, Alex suggests AI was used to identify a studio lead who wasn't in a good place and help them avoid burnout. On the surface, that might seem like a win, but the CEO goes on to suggest that toxic people are usually the ones about the burnout, adding that they're the same thing. They are not the same thing. There are some people who are just simply toxic, who are bad at their jobs, and there are people who suffer from burnout, but usually those are the people who just showcase other forms of aggression. Like, they either just don't want to talk to people, they avoid them. There are other ways. You can't just bundle them together. I've noticed this about human behavior, especially myself, is that we try to generalize a lot of people into categories when in reality we're all individual people with different ways of how we handle stress, aggression, happiness, a lot of things. So they're not the same thing. And at the same time, like, again, people are going to be afraid for their jobs. Equating toxicity to burnout is misguided at best, but what's more concerning is the fact that earlier on in the talk, Alex spoke about removing problematic players from the company to increase productivity. There you go. Exactly what I stated. People are going to be afraid for their jobs because they're going to be afraid that they're toxic. You're going to keep this confidential before the hammer comes down and then suddenly they're out of a job. In this instance, that means seemingly include those suffering from burnout, so you're threatening employees who burn out as well. That's the way I'm reading this. Towards the end of the talk, Alex said companies should look to wield AI tools in a positive manner and avoid making workers feel like they're being spied on. That's exactly what you're doing right now. You're spying on them. Like, where is it? Here it is. Automatic transcripts from Google Meet, Zoom, and task managers used by the company to ChatGPT. Text messages from Slack. Like, it is literally being spied on. Like, I'm confused. Who are you trying to convince here? It is a carefully worded piece of advice that suggests it might be possible to spy on your employees, but only if they don't allow them to feel as they are being spied on. What? Am I stupid? Because you're saying employees who are being spied on but feel like they're not being spied on. Help me understand that. Game developer reached out to tinyBuild for more information on how it uses AI in the workplace. Responding to why not game an original story on Twitter, Alex claims that some of the slides featuring the presentation were taken out of context, suggesting that using AI in the workplace is not about identifying problematic employees, but about giving HR tools to identify and prevent burnout of people. Alex then references another slide that featured in his presentation about states 99% of the time when you identify burnout, it's already too late. He also notes that the slide for the AI for HR section has been switched out for a new slide that reads AI for prevented burnout, which he describes as more accurate. The ethics of such process are more definitely questionable, and this question was asked during Q&A after the presentation, continues Alex, indicating an understanding that funneling employee chatter into AI tool in a bid to assess performance and the mental state of the workers is morally dubious. This is why I say very Black Mirror territory. This part was hypothetical. What could do to prevent burnout? He adds, dude, it doesn't make it better. It still makes it worse. The CEO closes his Twitter thread by asking for feedback from those in the audience. Sorry, the CEO closed his Twitter thread by asking for feedback for those in attendance at Developers Brighton who saw the presentation with full context. Post presentation, I've had inside discussions about the subject matter, especially in terms of coding and AI tools to accelerate creativity, he said, before stating that why gamers' coverage comes from a place of hate. In a separate response sent directly to Why Now Gaming, Alex said the HR portion of his presentation was purely hypothetical and that tinyBuild doesn't use AI tools to monitor its staff. The HR part of my presentation was hypothetical, hence the Black Mirror reference. I could have been made it more clear for when viewing out of context. Reads the statement, we do not monitor employees or use AI to identify problematic ones. The presentation explored how AI tools can be used and some grade into creepy territory. I wanted to explore how they can be used for good. Dude, no matter how you spin this just sounds really, really dystopian. Like, even if you're using it for great effect and positivity, the reality is that people are going to be fearful of their jobs if they feel in any way AI technology is being used to monitor them in any way. We've seen how scary it can get. If you ever seen the Asmongold clips where an AI was able to basically simulate his entire mannerisms, his voice, everything, yeah, it sounded janky. But this is early end technology. Imagine what it's going to be like a year from now. It's going to be much more advanced. There is certain AI technology that fools the common person, and that's the scary part. It's like when Stormfront talked to Homelander about memes in order to skew public opinion. She said, if your uncle is using these memes on Facebook, you know they're working, and that AI technology, it's being used by those same people. They're being fooled by it who take it at face value. And imagine how long before it starts to fool people like me who are familiar with this technology and can look at things that are just wrong about it. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where I'm going to question it, and that's even more scary. So it's just like not a good look for your company, because you can guarantee you've basically scared off a large portion of potential recruiters, while at the same time your own company, they're going to look at this and be like, what? What are you doing? Like, if I saw my company do this, even dabble with the idea of doing this, I would end up looking for jobs other places, because this is just scary. Like, I did have a situation like this at let's say a company I worked at, where one of my bosses says, what do you even do here? Like, despite the fact that he hired me here. And then one time he told me, you take a lot of bathroom breaks. I'm like, okay. I was like, we don't have anything to eat in this building, and the only thing we have is water, so I used that. And we always had to have food delivered because it was literally out in nowhere in New Jersey. So either I had to bring my own food, but since I started working there, for the first couple of weeks, I didn't know that. So I literally was drinking large amounts of water and going with my fellow employees asking, hey, can I come to you with lunch because I didn't bring any food? And my fellow employees were very nice, and they understood because they were in the same situation. So I would go with them till lunch until I started bringing my own food. So I've had situations like that where my bosses was like, hey, you're taking so many bathroom breaks and all this stuff. And I was like, what? Like, am I not allowed to take bathroom breaks? But regardless, it's just a very scary thought that you kind of put out there, and I don't know why he thought this was a good idea to come out on stage and say this stuff, because I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good idea. So tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear other people's opinions. Sorry for that hard cut. I know I said my computer crashed. I should look into building a new one right now, but we'll wait and see. Either way, if you want to support, the best way is to like, sub, and share. There's a super thanks button and a join button if you want to go the extra mile. That's me signing out. Have a good day.